new Xtrax Advanced Biologics is the name of their corporate name now. They've changed it. Initially, they had a product called Liquid GoldRX, and their website was also called Liquid GoldRX. And then they came out with another product, and now they had their original product and their website being the same. So they basically changed to a corporate name. That was one of the things when I first came in. One person said, how come all the names? What's all the names about? And so we had to kind of look at that. But this is where they've come to, is new Xtrax. And I really like that name, Advanced Biologics. So remember, I was talking about this original formula, the Liquid GoldRX, and it is a plant-based formula. There's 40 different plants that are incorporated into that original formula that has been around for a couple of years now. And the iHeRQles is the new product that they came out with that has 44 plants in it. This original formula has been on the direct selling market for 2-ish years. Don't know the exact date of its incorporation, but about 2 years. And the iHeRQles was introduced about 5 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. I think I watched a video that said 4 months, and it's been another month. So I think about 5 months. So not long. We're coming in on the early stages of this new formula. The new formula has some plants that strive to help us with stem cell. So it's doing some greater things, and the Liquid Gold already did amazing things. So we're getting in on the best of the best. So how is Hercules different? So when I first looked at this, when Cher sent me the email, I looked it up right away. And what I found was this, the ingredient list. And frankly, I was a little dismayed, because I thought, wow, this is really throwing the kitchen sink at the human body. This is just sort of taking all those plants and herbs and rolling them together and in a few sprays that you put under your mouth or under your tongue. So I was a little bit taken back that the list was so long of the ingredients. But this is what we think about when we see a list like this. We're really thinking, aren't we, about this? We're thinking about going to a health food store and then seeing all the different tinctures. They're darker and they're probably not all that great tasting. We've tasted some real wicked ones. I think all of us have. So this is kind of what we think about when we think about a product that has this much in it. That's just going to be little bits of the roots and the seeds and the leaves or the leaf stem. You know, we're thinking about the plant when we look at this. And so this is really where my brain went, and I was a little bit, but then I got to talk to Josh. Joshua is Kara Posik's son, and I told him the exact verbiage that I just told you. And he said, no, let me tell you how this is different. And this is what really got my attention, let alone the fact that Gwen was, just so gung-ho on it from the very start. So what he told me is, he said, Maria, this is very different. What this is 50 or more years of research to find the master molecules in each of those plants that will do a specific action in the body to help it so that it can restore and regenerate and have some vitality again. So that made sense to me, because that means that everything that you bring in this formula, when you pump it under your tongue and you take it in, your body doesn't have to dismantle it. It doesn't have to take it apart. It doesn't have to decipher anything except just receive the master molecule of information. So it's almost like it's the quantum biology of the plant. That really made my heart sing, because I feel like that's where we need to be. So why Hercules? That was my next question. This is an interesting name. So HRQ stands for Health Restoration Quotient, and that will make more sense as we're talking about the telomeres a little bit later here. But that is the name that it's iHeRQles. I specifically like that the HER is in pink, and it's for her. I think it's for everyone, but I like that it's pink and it says her, because I was all over that. But my husband is enjoying it too. A little bit of history. I know people don't like these slides, but I wanted to throw this in because we do have some linear people in here. So between the 1920 and 1975, many efforts were devoted to identify and develop safe products. And these prestigious European universities were looking to purify, detoxify, and cleanse. Isn't that what we're all doing in everything we do? Every time we go to Sprouts or Wild Oats or wherever, we're looking to purify, detoxify, and cleanse. Cleanse the body using conventional therapies, whether that be a colon cleanse or a blood cleanse or just drinking better water, getting pH water. I mean, we're all doing a lot of different things to do those things: purify, detoxify, and cleanse. Well, another European group of researchers were focusing on the neutralizing effect of safe components. So this is a little bit different. It's a totally different approach than the above mentioned methods. These are the components identified as biologics, and absolutely no man-made molecule is included in the active ingredients of iHeRQles or Liquid GoldRX. So new Xtrax, aka LGQX, you'll see that on some of the emails still, LGQX, Liquid Gold Quantum Extracts, by its neutralizing effect, assists to diminish whole body inflammation. That's really what this product is about, to assist and diminish whole body inflammation, keeping the vessels open and aiding the rapid elimination of toxic waste. New Xtrax Biologics has a very complex composition, unlike existing products. The selection, the extraction, separation, the filtration, purification, and sterilization procedures, together with computerized analysis and ongoing improvements, has made new Xtrax products user-friendly, safe, and fast-acting for good maintenance of the whole body. And they're telling us that to try to duplicate this particular formula and the way they do it is near impossible, that there isn't really a way to duplicate the system that they have in place. Intense research in Europe has shown that new Xtrax Biologics, a 10 ml spray bottle, which you saw the picture, but really I'm just going to show you just from a hand standpoint. If you can see my little picture, it's not very big. You can just carry it in your pocket, your purse. Is sufficient for a 1 month supply in most cases. We will talk about the blood cleansing that they suggest or recommend doing a little bit later. But one bottle at a maintenance dose will last you a full month. The results show also that there are no registered side effects when new Xtrax Biologics products were overdosed up to 5 to 8 times. So this is huge because you have a lot of people that come into programs like this and we think that more is better. So that's what we do. We take a lot more than maybe the recommended dose to just satisfy the needs of the body, being able to reduce inflammation, the whole body inflammation that they're talking about. So even at 5 to 8 times the regular dosage, there were no registered side effects. Unlike all the anti-inflammatory synthetic products, which are well documented and very well known, unwanted, and have dangerous side effects. So European scientists, after 50 plus years of research, found a safe, effective, 0% synthetic composition product with no side effects. To me, that says it all. If you want to put something in a text or an email to somebody, that's it right there. Safe and effective 0% synthetic composition product with no side effects. It has 44 plants. The Liquid GoldRX has 40. The iHeRQles has 44 plants that have been identified through research with 45 plus years of using the technology of PPXCT, which I just learned the other day, partial plant extraction combinations technology. And really what this is, in fact, this is what I said to Joshua when I first saw that long list of ingredients. I said, tell me about the synergistic quality of all of these herbs together and what you guys have done, because that amount of herbs using plant, seed, leaf, and stem and root, that grouping would have to be so synergistically perfect that it would be able to make some of the things that people are claiming they're making. But it made sense that if we're just using the molecules, the master molecules of each one, the synergism is much more easily adopted and usable for the body. But synergism is just the powerful combination. One affects the other in a positive way. Taken daily, it provides all the variables that are no longer in the food supply for those in pursuit of long-term better health. That should be another tagline in everything you send out. Taken daily, it provides all the variables that are no longer in the food supply. Wow.
Mhm.
So do you wish you could turn back time? Because that's probably what brought you a lot of you to the call today is not only that you already know about it, but if you're here for the first time, that you've heard anti-aging out of the mouths of the people that have been talking to you about it. Do you wish you could turn back time? Why, of course, yes. Is there a way? Yes, and it's called biological age reversal. And then I put down here that it's the new Xtrax, and that's how you pronounce it, new Xtrax. So what are the benefits? Well, we have the telomere support, which I'm going to go into a little bit in depth because that's one of the biggest things that we should be talking about, which provides then anti-aging possibilities, new cells that can live longer. That's all about the telomeres, faster muscle growth, increased stamina, better skin and nails, enhanced endurance. So all of these, I like this one down here, the menopause symptom, like that. Enhanced cognitive abilities. That's one that's really gleaning a lot of attention for people, is to make sure that we're getting it in the hands of people who may be seeing some decline. I know that was my mom's big thing, because she was, what are you gonna pitch to me now, daughter? And I said, what if it might be able to help you with cognitive decline? She was very excited. So, okay. So what are telomeres? Telomeres are the end caps of the DNA. So I want you to just use this picture down here first. This is a cell, and inside the cell is the nucleus, going back to some biology here. Inside the cell is the nucleus, and inside the nucleus are the chromosomes, and inside the chromosomes are packaged our DNA. So what the telomeres are end caps. They're the end caps that end up being on the end of the chromosomes as kind of a safety net when the cell divides. So telomeres are the caps on the ends of DNA, and when the cells die and new ones are formed, this happens every 120 days for blood cells, the telomeres shorten. Aging is reflected in the length of the telomeres. This new product is a result of 50 years of research and testing by a huge research team. And now this age-reversing product is available to me and you and everyone who is looking for true natural ageless health. So telomere length can be done by tests. You can take a test, and a blood test, and have them test the length of your telomeres. And I'm going to show you some examples of that here. Okay, I watched a video on telomeres because I wanted to be able to explain it. And there's one video out there that's just hilarious. She talks about, well, I'll have to post it. I'll post it on the final thing that we put up on our YouTube when I timestamp everything. But I couldn't play it here, but it's just because it's too long of a video. But I would love all of you to go look at it, because she's just hilarious talking about our DNA and our telomere length. So she explained it this way, and I thought this was really good. Cells, when they divide and they go to break the chromosomes in half so that each new cell can have that DNA sequence, that separation is never perfect. And even though we would like it to be, it's never perfect. So let's say the DNA strand says this in this whole chromosome. This is what it's, one of the components says, perfect liver cell damage free. Well, when it splits and divides, since it's not perfect in its split, it could fray the ends, or the ends may not catch it. So now the new DNA strand may say liver cell damage, but the perfect and the free are gone. That's really kind of what happens with telomeres. They're there as a protective. What keeps them there? Anti-inflammation, or not being inflamed. I mean, that's really the key. And so the telomeres are protecting the DNA so that the message in each brand new cell will be just as evident as it was in the whole cell before it divided. So telomeres create a buffer on each end of the chromosomes so that the division of the internal message stays the same. Over many times of cell division, telomeres are the only part reduced. Once it gets down to a certain place, the cell literally stops dividing. The body says you can't divide anymore. Well, that's aging and then eventually death. So we want to make sure the telomere length stays nice and vital. And so this is a good example, and this is that video that I saw. This is the example she gave. Let's say that through really good nutrition and lifestyle and taking some really good products, that we're able to lengthen the telomere. That would be la 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 on the front end of the chromosomal or the DNA line, and la 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 on the back end. When it divides, maybe just one la on and one la on the ends are gone. Now we have a la la, perfect cell, perfect liver cell, damage free. And so each time it divides, we're just losing the stuff that doesn't matter. It's just the little ends that don't have any actual sequencing in them. And that's really how she explained it. I thought, what a good way to explain telomeres, because you can look at it from a biological standpoint, unless you really have the brain for that and you're kind of a biologic nerd, you don't really understand it. But this made sense to me, that we can do things in our life to increase the telomeres, to increase the la 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 la's on the end of our DNA strand, so that as the cells are splitting and everything is changing and dividing, we still have the sequence that we need, which is perfect liver cell, damage free. Now that's obviously just a statement, but I really wanted you to see how, if some of the telomeres are gone and you've lost the perfect and the free, how you could end up with liver cell damage, and that's disease. That's cancer, that's cirrhosis, that's whatever. So that's really what happens, and why the telomere part is so important in looking at this product. So all devastating, debilitating illnesses are directly related to inflammation. So now I want you to pay attention to all of the different disease states and illnesses that surround inflammation. And that's documented now. They're just saying that pretty much every disease is a result of inflammation in the system on some level. Okay. So now let's look at oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, and telomere shortening. Oh, we get to see some very similar ones: the arthritis, the rheumatism, diseases, cancer, diabetes, autoimmune, lung issues, neurological, cardiovascular. So when you look at these two slides side by side, you know, they're pretty similar. You got inflammation and telomere shortening. So biological age reversal. Superior telomere support to promote biological cellular reverse aging possibilities. That's really what this product does, is it gives us the opportunity. Now, is it going to take longer in some people to set the stage for a reversal? Yes, because we've all been subjected to different things. We all have different conditioned responses to just emotion. That's just one component. But then we can look at our environment, you know, just from a job perspective. Somebody may have, you know, painted cars their whole life. Well, how many chemicals and toxins have they absorbed through their skin and through their lungs, and are really in the tissue pretty settled? Well, it's going to take a while for that person to really start noticing some real significant differences. So you're going to be different. All of us are going to be different in how our body receives this and moves forward to better health. What can telomere support help you with? Well, as we saw on that last slide, anti-aging possibilities, new cells that can live longer, that's the telomere. Biological age reversal possibilities, menopausal symptom relief, enhanced endurance, enhanced cognitive abilities, faster muscle growth, faster recovery, increased stamina, hormonal balance, better skin and nails, prevent hair loss. Probably the list goes on and on and on. How do we know that the telomeres are longer? Well, there's a company called TeloYears, and this company, new Xtrax, through their period of time that it has been established. Now, remember, this company was using products under a different label, so this direct selling, being only a couple of years old, doesn't mean that that's how old the company is. This company is much older than that and has already been using these products in practitioners' offices, and therefore have accumulated a lot of test results on telomeres. And this is just over a 5-year period. TeloYears is a government certified and accredited lab. If you want to take a screenshot of this slide, you can actually go to this YouTube channel and watch someone from TeloYears talk about their lab and what they do. And it's a very interesting video. This is what you get when you send your blood into the TeloYears lab. they will send you a list of, well, a screenshot basically of what your age is now. And based on the average telomere length, they will give you a score on what your cellular age is. So this is what they've been seeing in all of these different tests. Here are just 11 samples of the 1,500 cases that they have documented. These cases are prior to using the formula and then after using the formula for 4 months in the therapeutic doses that they recommend. And we'll talk about that. So in this one, the actual age of the person was 39, but the telomere length was 30. And you can just go through and see each one, how there is such a drastic look at from 70 years to 58, 60 to 40, 53 to 47. So these are pretty significant. If this isn't correct, someone needs to correct me, but I think I heard Care say that the telomeres or the teleyears company actually called and asked what we were doing with this formula, what they were doing with this formula, because they were seeing such drastic differences, such a wide scope from what your age is to what the teleyears was showing from a telomere standpoint. So here are some examples, which I think are very cool. This is 6 weeks on this spray 3 times a day. He couldn't walk up 1 flight of stairs without getting winded before, and now he can walk up six flights of stairs with no problem. Look at the changes in his body. So this is pretty amazing when you look at 3 months difference here, actually less than 3 months. This is a bruise, only 3 days after a very bad bruise. So if you can look down here, there's a little bit of yellow discoloration. It's hard because it's a phone, so it's hard to tell the coloring, and this obviously is taken on a different day than these two. But you can see how reduced, and since it's not purpley and green, that tells me that the vessels, the circulation was enhanced so dramatically that all the waste from the dead blood is basically just being cleaned and washed away and taken out by lymph. This is really, really amazing. This is a mole. It says in October, I posted about how the wellness spray was drying up my moles. I think she had drywall in there by a mistake. One in particular, and the first picture is before, and the bottom is after it fell. It dried up and fell off. I am amazed. I have noticed others starting to change too. Thanks so much, Care. So obviously she was worried about this mole, and it was maybe itchy, maybe starting to take on some different shape. And then here it is down here after it had fallen off. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so this is mine because my big thing right now with menopause is high cortisol and my blood sugar. So I actually I had already been reading my blood sugars in the morning just to see where I was. Since weight loss was being so difficult, I figured I better look at my liver and my adrenals and my blood sugar. And so you can see by the dates here, 416, 421. So this is just in April. This was average. I think 136 was my highest ever in the morning, but this was pretty much the norm, going back and forth and back and forth. So I just got my product on Wednesday afternoon, started it, and this is after just 3 days. So the last 2 days, this was this morning's reading, and this one should say 520 or May 1st. I just didn't realize that for whatever reason I had taken the battery out and it didn't go back. Or we had a leap year or something, I'm not sure, but this should say 5-1 here. So this was yesterday's and this was this morning's. This one was after pizza last night. So I thought that was really impressive. So I am really hoping to see some major changes with me just from this result right here, just from what I'm seeing here. This to me is pretty amazing.
That's amazing, Maria.
I know, isn't that fun? I know.
Amazing.
It's really cool. Yeah, it is. So let's just kind of recap a little bit. What is it? It's more than 10,000 plants that have medicinal qualities. There are over 10,000 plants that have that. 400 plus of these have elements that are good for the human body. And this science is based on the top 10% of those. So we're really getting down to the nitty gritty of that list of what has the best opportunity to heal help the body heal different systems, glands, organs, and tissues in the body. That's what the research is, because if there's 10,000 plants that have medicinal qualities, how do you even start picking? How do you even go through and figure out which ones to start with? That's the research. That's the research that they were doing when I was a young girl, which is just amazing to me. And what does it do? It creates an environment to assist restoration of the life force needed to heal, creating balance within the blood, and assisting the cells so that they can function properly. What does it do? Helps recover from the constant bombardment of toxic exposure, helps to neutralize the poisons. Showed that just in the bruise, that picture of the bruise. You can take it every day because it's food. That's the part I love. It's just good food. It's 100% organic, 100% non-synthetic, which I think is amazing in this day and age. 100% non-toxic, non-addictive. Also, people have been asking me, is it vegan friendly? Yes. There's no colorants. Is it non-GMO? Yes. Is it gluten-free? That's a huge question I've been asked. Yes, it's gluten-free and allergen-free. You cannot overdose on it. The side effects are only positive and does not interact with any medications you are taking. Given that, I want to just express again that all of us have different elements of toxicity in our system. So if you were to start this and really didn't feel anything for the first couple of weeks or even couple of months, I would recommend you keep taking it, because with the people that are experiencing things, this isn't just something that may or may not work. This is actually working. We just don't know how toxic we really are until we start engaging in something. How does it work? It affects the inflammation on the body, and the inflammation has been well known and documented for decades. It is safe anti-inflammatory is now a reality. And remember, there is no safe synthetic anti-inflammatory drug. All of them have side effects that you have to take something like this to recoup what you did to your body by taking them. So here's that big long list again. And again, I want to just try to hit it home again that I did initially feel like this was throwing the kitchen sink of herbs and plants at the body. And you're going to have people that say that too. Well, how can there's so much in here, how can it possibly do anything with just 4 pumps under your tongue with each dose? But again, we're looking at the master molecules of each of these. Also, the food grade ethanol, I had somebody say, well, I can't take it because of the ethanol. So I wanted to put this screen in here because I wanted to give you a little bit of leverage when somebody asks about that. So ethanol fermentation happens in the body all the time. And what they've done in this particular formula is they've taken a couple of these herbs, I don't know exactly how many, and they have fermented them, creating an alcohol base as a preservative. So that right there is your food grade ethanol preservatives made up of a couple of the different herbs in this formula already. So if somebody has a problem with the ethanol, you can just say ethanol, or you can print this, screenshot this page, whatever. Ethanol fermentation, also called alcoholic fermentation, is a biological process which converts sugar, such as glucose, fructose, and sucrose, into cellular energy, producing ethanol and carbon dioxide as byproducts. So anybody that brings glucose in, and that's everybody, does produce their own ethanol as a byproduct.